Hi, friends. I'm in my man cave. It's December the 16th, 2024 at 9:38. And I talked about this last night, and it's ribbing up. It's just ribbing up too much in this country without explanation. And I need to know if you feel the same way, that the government's actually hiding information from us. And I'll tell you why. I flew airplanes, and you just don't go out there and fly things without having a flight number. Uh, Let me rephrase that. Without having a identification on your plane, a flight number that you're going to take off on. Um, they're going to identify you with your flight number. That would be the plane number when you come to land. They're going to tell you when to land because there's going to be other planes landing on the same runway. They don't want two planes running on the same runway, and if it's a plane that's called a heavy, and that's the biggest ones, they may want two or three lanes at Sanford's Field to clear out because they weigh so much, and they don't want any mistakes whatsoever of hitting another plane while they're landing. They want all planes to know, and I've listened to it on the radio while I was on a heavy plane, and he'll refer to himself as like, this is flight 425 heavy. We're getting ready for Stanford Field. We're 5 miles away. Please give instructions on what runway we should land on. Let me get my Dr. Pepper. Okay, now this is coming in from the tower. Okay, the tower has information on every single plane that takes off and lands, where they are, if they get lost, if they crash. All this is going on. I can tell you this because I flew planes. Now, that's why I'm doing the second video. I did one last night. I didn't mention I knew all this stuff. I didn't mention that not only does the aircraft tower have all that information on each aircraft that takes off and lands and where they are. I didn't mention that everything's got an identification as far as what plane you're on. So, I'm not quite saying it, um, explaining it so you can understand it, other than to say they got us covered. If we have trouble and we're in a plane, they've got us covered. They'll lead us down if the engine stops, if the propeller stops, or if you're in a jet, if something happens. For example, if I'm in a plane that's a jet and birds start hitting it and causing it to wobble around and stop flying and start a nosedive, we'll be instructed whether or not to land it or turn it around at the nearest airport, or in one case several years ago, landed in the water and everybody lived. Now we have, this week we have a little crisis going on where nobody remembers that we have that capability. Nobody knows we have that capability because what they're saying is we don't know if that's aircraft up there. We've got four possibilities. We've got four possibilities of this unidentified uh, uh, contraption going on, for lack of better words. We think it could be balloons. Give me a break. Would they be people in the balloons? Would that be registered somewhere if there were authorized people in balloons up there? Would they know what balloons were up there? Well, no, they may not be balloons. They may actually be drones. Drones the size of a Volkswagen, size of a SUV. Who's in them? Or is anyone in them? I heard. I don't know if it was night before last or last night. Hundreds or was it thousands of drones came out of the water? Give me a break. I didn't hear. I wasn't here where where I heard that on the news. But if you listen to Fox News, that's where you'll probably get the most information because they may have 4 or 5 people showing videos of what they saw, as well as talk about it. Okay, so we have all these drones that nobody knows anything about. Are there people in the drones, or do the drones have explosives? Are they pointed to shoot people down, or shoot not people down, but shoot areas down? What is the purpose of those drones? I think, if you want my opinion only, those drones, even though they can't go too far due to battery power, and I've been a ham radio operator all my life since 14 years old. I know about this transmitting stuff. The batteries in this case for drones is now sophisticated and can last for quite a while. But what they can do is transmit information that they're gathering while the drones are going over the United States and sending that information anywhere they want. They don't have to have a man on that drone. We already know that they use drones for warfare. I'm not going to go much into that. I don't want to talk about killing people. Okay. So we've covered aircraft, unidentified aircraft. Apparently, they they have aircraft that I never used because I had to identify myself. I had to identify my plane when I was starting and stopping and telling what runway I was going to start on and what runway I was going to stop at. Now tell me after 25 years when I did this at Bowman Field, not Stanford Field. Stanford Field was mostly for commercial. Bowman Field was mostly for less than commercial. Um, let's just say um, I was going to uh, take. Let's say I was going to uh, take take a party of 5 or 20 people to another state for a party or something. We'd use a lesser airport, even though Stanford and Bowman Field, which I used, uh, we could exchange each other. I could land at at Stanford Field if need be, like crisis, but they wouldn't like that because it's for commercial use. But commercial could also use Bowman Field, as far as I knew, if they're in a crisis and needed to land quicker, because the distance wasn't that far apart, but they were both in Louisville. Okay, you probably learned more about airplanes than you cared to hear. Drones, I don't know how they're identified. Someone tonight told me that they could be have people in them, or they may not have people in them. But we know they can have a very, well, how can I say this? They're equipped to where they can shoot down shoot down things. Let's just put it that way. They're also capable of getting information. This is what I've heard. Information from wherever they're flying over and transfer it wherever they want to whatever countries they want to. See, let me tell you, as a ham radio operator, I could talk to anyone in the world if the conditions were right, if I had the right equipment, with a general license, which I have a general license. I could operate on all the ham frequencies, talk over the world. So this I was ham radio operator when I was 14 years old. So we're not talking about new technology here. We're talking about hidden technology. Possibly. At least it's not, if it's not hidden, it's not given out to the public on the news yet. On Fox News. It's not on Fox News yet. Okay, one thing we haven't covered yet, very controversial. I believe in this. I've talked to people personally, two in particular, three in particular, that have had some type of encounters with UFOs. You're going to say, Jim, you've gone too far. Well, let's think about this. Have I gone too far? if you if when you get off here, I want you, if you want to check this out, and I haven't for a couple years, go to Google and put UFO sighting locations. UFO lighting or UFO sightings locations, and you can still add yours to it if you see a UFO. You don't have the states, the location, what was seen, the object size. Did did not anyone ever tell you this besides me? Well, come on now. You're going to believe me. No, don't believe me. Look it up on Google and see the actual facts. The UFO sighting locations. I'm not saying that's the words you have to feed into to Google, but something like that. Sightings of UFOs in America. And you'll see all the states where sightings were made and a lot more. Well, who's hiding that from us? How come it takes me to tell you? Okay, if you want to hear more, go to YouTube and put UFO sightings. And I haven't done that lately. Not for a couple years. I've sort of moved away from that study. I was studying that for a while. Wright Patterson, Wright Patterson Air Force Base is where my father-in-law lived, or not lived, but worked. I know stuff I'm not allowed to tell. Most of the stuff that happened in the area of the UFOs is at Wright Patterson Air Force Base, including any evidence that they've collected, which I can't name. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to even say what I probably just said. Probably shouldn't even mention Wright Patterson Air Force Base as being the central location for UFO um, everything. I did so much stuff as far as reading from people that were at the base that were in the military. They were told reporters. One book, the guy said the reporters that showed up before the military got there at that I can't think of the name of where the UFOs crashed many years ago. They were told to not mention it or bad things were going to happen to their family. I heard this from people that were there. Where did I learn it from? Netflix. This was when Netflix sent disc through the mail. I ordered every single disc on YouTube. Now I haven't followed up on all this, but what I listened to were people that were actually there. I forgot I forgot the name of the state and county, but you know it. You know it because it's where the big crash happened, and two books are written by military people. When I got the two books, I looked to see if they were alive. One person wasn't alive anymore that wrote the book, and the other one was still alive, which made me wonder if one person shared too much in his book. There, there were people found in boxes. I'm just going to share one thing. Before the military and everything, or maybe after the military got there at that site, Roseland, Roseland, don't know what state, Roseland's a city. They went to the funeral director, and I heard this on Netflix. They interviewed him. They said, we had people coming in, military, asking if we had anything that could preserve a person indefinitely. And he said, yeah, he could get some. I think it was formaldehyde. And then, as I was reading the two books, paperback books on by the military people that were there, they one of them walked into a warehouse he wasn't supposed to, but somebody else had gotten there first, and he told them, You're not supposed to go into that warehouse," but he did. He said, "You got to see what I saw." And the man that was housing the, being sure nobody walked into that building at that city I just mentioned. He walked in there and he pried open one of the big boxes, and it was filled with what looked like humans, but they were small. They were all dead and they had expressions of pain on them. None of them were alive. Expressions of pain. And he shut that sucker down and got out of there. He was told not to go into that building, and he also was to keep everybody out, but one of his friends slipped in and he didn't notice it. And then that's why when his friend came out, said, "You got to see this." He said, "You weren't supposed to be in there. You still got to see it. You must see what I see." And he propped open that, I don't know if it was a wooden or a metal, uh, what like a shed, like a rent a shed, like you going to store some things. He opened it up and saw all these people in there, dead. And I think that's why when they interviewed the guy that gave him the formaldehyde, which was in charge of funeral homes, because see, when you die, before the before the funeral, your blood's taken out, and formaldehyde was what was being injected in you, so you didn't decompensate anymore. Does all this make sense to you? Okay, why am I telling you all this? Because the last of the four that I'm mentioning is they're saying it's not UFOs. Well, how do they know? I've known three people that convinced me they had encounters not only with UFOs, two of them actually had encounters talking to UFOs, UFO people. One didn't because she ran so hard with her sons to get into the house while the UFO was coming down on her house. And when she locked the doors and everything, the UFO, she said it was like this. She said it was hovering around her house, and then in 1 second, it disappeared. It's got that capability. UFOs have the capability, if this is what I understand, to go quickly left, right, up, down, and or disappear. Had a ham radio operator that I believe is very legitimate. He bought ham equipment from me, and he did police work. He fixed their radios that they communicated with. He had an encounter with the actual face to face. And what he told me, and I have no connection with him anymore because he lived in Canada, and he had to go back to Canada and couldn't come back to the USA, I think, for 3 or 4 years due to their regulations. But his wife was in Canada, so he was going back to Canada. Okay, so he bought my equipment, he fixed my equipment, he fixed the police station's equipment. So we're not talking about a stupid person that's making up stories for us. I'm not happy with this video. Better now. So he said that one did stop where he was located. I don't know what state, I don't know what town, but he saw it and he stopped his car. He went to it. He went to the VFO. He had a discussion with the people in the UFO. And what he told me was, the only thing he told me was about that conversation was he was not allowed to discuss anything that was said. And every bit of it was true, he said, but he would be afraid to repeat anything that they discussed. And then the other person, the third person that saw a UFO, didn't have direct communication with anybody on the UFO, but saw it land, watched it, saw it take back off, and when it took back off, within minutes it disappeared. I mean, it wasn't an aircraft. It went to the best way I can describe this is it went to a higher frequency that couldn't be seen. And that's what I believe happens. The reason why all these reports can't be proven is that the UFOs can change frequencies. Just like you listen to all the frequencies on the radio, and none, not one frequency, not one station is going to be broadcasting what another station is saying. So one UFO can go to a different frequency that no one can see. This is never talked about, is it? Um, I've done limited research on this, but this is what I'm telling you is the limited amount of research that I have done, and and the limited amount of knowledge I have, and whether the knowledge is true or false. I can only say, please do your own research. Buy your books, buy the magazines, buy the look on YouTube. See the people that claim to have had experiences with UFOs. Now here's the thing. We know out of the four items I've mentioned, and I'll mention them again. We're talking about four possibilities that's going on today. The possibilities. I've already lost my sheet of paper. Balloons. Okay. Why don't we know more about it if these are balloons up there? Unidentified aircraft. How does that happen? I told you my experience with aircraft. There's numbers. There's communication. How can they not know? Then there's UFOs. And there's one other area I can't even remember that I talked about, but you remember it. Um, oh yeah, the flying, the flying. Can you believe this? What was the name of that? And not androids. Um, the things that fly, and I'm going to look around and see if I can find what it was. Um, I can't even keep my notes straight. You know, This is a problem with having ADHD. You're liable to set something down and not androids. Are they androids? They're the things that fly around and take pictures, and I mentioned that earlier, so you know what I'm talking about. I said they had low power batteries that couldn't last forever, but they could be sending information all over the world. So we've got those four things to deal with and talk about. Now, if you care to take the time to talk to me about this, we've been going on for a little bit over half an hour, and we do know this. I'm adjusting my poor laptop. I'm getting a battery for my Dell tomorrow, so the photograph will be better. Uh, this is this is not the best in the world. Let me see if I can get a better adjustment on it. No. Doesn't matter. It's the information, isn't it? It's the information you want to hear. Now, let me say, none of this has been made up. I didn't tell you about the girl, or did I? Being chased by a UFO. She had her 2 kids with her. I saw her as a client. I saw her as a client, and the word I was trying to think of was drones. By the way, drones, either with people in them or people without them, taking pictures, sending information back, doing everything. Ability to kill, to shoot, weapons on them. Telling you the truth about this from what I've heard to be the truth. Okay. So here's this girl that I've seen. You got to realize I've been in the counseling field for, I'll say 25 years, was over more like 30. So I've heard people that I believe are authentic and very personable and very attractive in some cases. Not that you need to know that. And this one lady that was very attractive and very believable with 2 kids. She said she was outside, and I don't know how far away from her house, but this un, unidentified, strange looking aircraft that could go any direction, back and forth, sideways, within seconds, was hovering around her and her 2 kids. And all she could feel was fright. Something very bad is going to happen if we can't get into the house and lock it up. And even then, we can't predict what's going to happen because they kept getting closer and closer to her house and hovering over her house. So they ran in and locked the doors. And within minutes, they watched. And they watched let's call it a UFO. They watched the UFO go up and switch all sorts of directions within seconds and disappear to a different frequency. At which time they were thankful and never forgot. Well, I've shared with you some fun stuff. And I'm saying fun because it's enlightening stuff that you may never have heard before. I've shared with you some serious things. I maybe have shared things that are unbelievable. all I can say is that if you've listened to any of my videos, I think I have over 100. Feel free to listen to them, especially the ones on how to meet women. And if you're a guy, but you can listen to it if you're a woman and use the same techniques. And my best selling one is one I can't believe. I'm so lonesome I can cry. And you won't believe this, but some mornings I wake up wishing I didn't wake up. I'm just being real with you. You want me to be truthful, don't you? You don't want to listen to a liar. I don't want to wake up because everything I wanted to do to the 75, soon to be 76, I've done. This is the most fun thing I can do. That's why I'm doing YouTubes. It's because to me, I love to talk. I was a counselor for all my life. So that's why I like to talk so much. Other people will show videos, they'll use robotic voices and all that to do theirs with, and you're looking at me and say, why don't you have a decent thumbprint? Why don't you have something that'll capture my attention? Nobody will help me. There's not a single person in my town that I can go to for help on making my videos better, my studio look decent. This is the best I can do, and you're seeing the real raw me. And everything I say is right on target. I'm not making it up. I want to thank you because you've listened to me for 43 minutes and 7 seconds. So I want to thank you for listening. If you like my style of free flowing truthfulness, may I invite you to hit subscribe right now. Right now. I don't have many subscribers. Hit the like button if you like it. I'll try to answer if you send me questions, or send me comments rather, or either. I can't promise I'll answer them all, but I'll try. But I want to thank you. And I want you to know that I'm a Christian, and I try to say what I believe to be true. And I hope you are too, and if you're not, I'll help you through it. If you send me a note, or if you will go to my email address, which is jimwortham123@gmail.com. It's JIMWORTHAM JimWortham123 at gmail.com. If you forget that, try JimWortham at outlook.com. That's easier to remember because you don't have to have numbers. Look, I'm not the slickest person in answering or responding, so give me time. And if you have a real concern, like I just said, I'll get back to you as fast as I can. I want to thank you for listening because you've been listening for 45 minutes, over 45 minutes. And I hope it's been a fun trip for you. I hope you'll subscribe if you like my style. I'm free flowing, just the way you see me. God bless you.